So the first topic I'm going to talk about is that Captain America: Brave New World is projected to open between 81 to 107. Now I think this is a good opening for this movie because of like these factors where I don't think this movie's going to have one of the biggest MCU openings, but I also don't think it's going to have like a bad opening either because I do think that all people are excited for this movie and I think the trailers have done a great job of marketing. But I think the factors that kind of work against this movie, why I figure this is where it would open between the 80 maybe to 100 plus area is because you have this movie coming off of a TV show. Whether this is fair or not fair, I think a lot of people are going into this movie viewing it like a TV movie because you're jumping off of a TV show, and not everybody watched the Falcon and Winter Soldier show, and it wasn't beloved. Like it's not one of those MCU shows that a lot of people thought was great. Like I liked the show, but I also think it was a show I did, but it wasn't a show that I loved, and I think a lot of people just kind of liked it but didn't love it. And another factor with this is that I love Anthony Mackie as Falcon. I think it's really interesting to see his character transition into Captain America, something from the comics. And I think it could be, like I said, really interesting with the fact that he's a human. He's a guy. He's a council of soldiers. He has to use his smarts more than than physically being able to beat the bad guys. I think just those areas I think can make him really interesting Captain America. But when people think of Captain America, they think of Steve Rogers, and I love Steve Rogers. He's one of my favorite MCU characters. He was obviously part of the Holy Trinity when it comes to him, Thor, and Iron Man being the kind of like the three big characters of the Infinity Saga. But like I said, a lot of people think when they think of Cap, they think of Steve. And as much as I love the Falcon character, and I think a lot of people do, he was a supporting character. And it's just like an example would be like if you did an Iron Man 4 with Don Chino as Rhodey and he took the mantle of Iron Man. There's gonna be a lot of people out there that aren't gonna be excited for that movie as much as they would be for an Iron Man movie if it was Tony Stark. Because when people think of Iron Man, they think of Tony Stark. So I think those are all the factors that kind of working against this Captain America movie. You also have the fact that it's been the bad press of it going through reshoots. And look, reshoots can be bad or good. Won't know until you see the movie. But this is why I figured it would open. Like if it opens to 100 plus, it depend on what the budget is for this movie. If the budget for this movie is like 100 something, I would say that that's a pretty great opening. And I would say if it was between 80 and 90, I would say that that's a good opening for a movie that you have a supporting character as a lead character, that you don't have Steve Rogers as Cap in this one. So let's see what happens with this movie. Sometimes tracking can be, I always say this, sometimes tracking can be way off. Sometimes tracking can be on point. Sometimes the movie opens more than what it's tracking to open. So we'll see what Captain America for. Next then is that Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow has commenced production in the UK, which I'm excited for this movie. I haven't read the comic this movie is going to be based off of, but from what I heard, the idea is that this is a Supergirl that's jaded. And I think this is great because one of the things I really loved hearing about the Superman movie from James Gunn, the way he's talked about it, and what I see from that trailer, is that I like the idea of having Superman and Supergirl be kind of the opposites, like opposite of each other, where Supergirl has a more tragic, dark past, and she's a little more jaded than what James Gunn's Superman is going to be. And I think it creates a great contrast between her and her cousin. Before I heard the comic movies based off is great, so I'm always happy and excited to hear when a movie starts production when it's a movie that I'm excited for. Next then is that Shrek 5 has been pushed back to it was going to open in July, I believe, in 2026, and it's been pushed back a couple of months. And Minions 3 has took the original release date spot for Shrek 5. And it sucks to hear this because I love I'm a big Shrek fan. I love the first two Shrek movies. Shrek 3 I wasn't a fan of. Shrek Forever I thought was okay. I thought the first Person Boost movie was okay. I love the second Person Boost movie. And if you watch any of that definitely sets up to see the Shrek characters again. When it comes to the Minions, I'm not somebody who cares that much about that franchise. Like I've never seen any of the Despicable Me movies or the Minion movies, but those movies do make a lot of money. I know that. Like I think some of those Minion movies, maybe Despicable movies, made $1 billion or came really close to it. Some of those movies, I definitely know someone who made a billion. Those movies do make a lot of money, so I think there's a little, a lot of people are going to be excited for Minions 3. It does suck to see Shrek 5 has been pushed back, but at the same time, if the movie turns out to be great, that's all I care about, and I'm hoping Shrek 5 gets back to the quality of the first two Shrek movies, with Shrek 2 being my favorite. Next topic is Eddie Muschietti talked about why he thinks the Flash movie failed. And his reason was that it wasn't a full quadrant film. And the other two things he says, because I think these are the two dumb things I think he says. No offense to Eddie Muschietti. Sometimes action directors, I think, say stupid things. They don't realize what they said. But his reasons for why I think the Flash movie fails because it wasn't a full quadrant film. Now, a full quadrant movie, what he means by that is that, like, that means it's a movie that's for everybody of all ages. Whether you're a kid, a teenager, a middle-aged, adult, an older person, an elder person. But his also other two comments of him saying, like, nobody cared. He realized that nobody cared about the Flash and that women don't like the character. Those are the dumb comments, in my opinion. Because this is a problem I have with his comments. Is that him saying that nobody cared about the Flash and that women don't like the Flash is why that movie failed. Those are not the reasons why the Flash movie failed. And let me say this: I don't hate the Flash movie. I think it's a fun movie. I don't love it as much as I did the first couple of times. It's kind of gone down a little bit on the rewatches. I still think it's a fun movie though. Like, I don't hate that movie. I know some people do, and hey, I totally get that. Film is subjective. But I think it's an entertaining movie. But the reasons why that movie failed has nothing to do with people not caring about the Flash character. Because there's plenty of people that love the Flash character and care about the character. He's a popular character in DC Comics. He's part of the Justice League in the comics. The reasons why that movie failed is that you had a main actor who was getting in trouble constantly, bad publicity, where the studio just wasn't dealing with it and not saying anything. Like Ezra Miller, you heard constant articles about him always being in trouble. It's a movie that got delayed. It went through multiple directors, I remember. I think it went through multiple writers to that movie. And it was coming out when he officially saying the DCU was done. And it was coming off a universe that was very spotty with its track record when it came to the quality of movies. If you want to say those are factors, yes, those are factors why the movie failed. But if you're saying that nobody cares about the Flash character, that is wrong because you had a Flash show with Grant Gustin, who's beloved as that character, that lasted 9 seasons. It was one of the highest rated shows on the CW at the beginning for the first couple of seasons. And it lasted 9 seasons. And I look at Guardians of the Galaxy. When the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie came out, and look, there's other things with the Guardians of the Galaxy movie where it was coming out when the MCU was on a high. It was putting out hit after hit the MCU. So, the MCU was firing on all cylinders at the time. DCU was, basically dying and about to end. So you have a little bit of difference there. But with the Guardians of the Galaxy, nobody knew who those characters were when that movie was coming out, the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. But they did a great job marketing, and you got a great movie out of it. The Flash is a way more popular character, in my opinion, than the Guardians of the Galaxy characters were before that movie came out. And yeah, the Flash maybe isn't as popular as, say, Wonder Woman, Batman, and Superman. They're the holy trinity of the DC comics. They're the big three. But he's a popular character, and there's a lot of people that do care about the Flash. Go to conventions. Like I said, you had a Flash show that lasted 9 seasons that started before the Flash movie came out. You had characters like Guardians of the Galaxy that nobody knew the hell they were. That movie was a hit. You got a trilogy out of it. And women not liking the character, yeah, I don't understand that comment because you go to conventions, there's a lot of women that love Grant Gustin as the Flash. And he was beloved as the character. And look, when it comes to Ezra Miller, I like this Flash. But I also know some people, not everybody loved his Flash. Some people thought it was a little too kooky and goofy. And I'm messing out my review with the Flash movie where I think the humor didn't always land for me with his Flash. But it has nothing to do with the character of women not liking the character or people not caring about the character. Like the DCU dying, the main actor getting in trouble constantly and bad publicity because you always heard some news he was getting in trouble. The fact the Flash movie was delayed and went through multiple writers and directors, those are actual reasons why that movie failed. And this just makes me concerned about Batman Bane and Bold because it's like when Eddie Muschietti said the whole thing about the CGI, he said that was a creative choice, and you can say it all day you want that movie. And I remember the first time I saw the Flash movie, the CGI, I was kind of like, it's not as bad as people made it out to be the CGI, but I can understand why people thought it was bad. But the more times I rewatched that movie, the CGI definitely bothers me on the multiple viewings where I was like, it looks like a video game. I'm not talking about just the Speed Force in that movie. But that's no reason why that movie didn't fail. A lot of people thought the CGI was bad in that movie, and that's an example where the director's defending the choice. You can defend it all you want. That was a creative choice, but it was bad CGI in that movie. And, that's no reason why I think the movie failed. A lot of people just point out the CGI. I think that was a sticking point for a lot of people. A lot of people just didn't go see the movie because of the main actor getting into trouble, and they didn't want to see the movie because of that actor. The word of mouth for the movie, I think that was a little bit too, where the movie has like a 60-something% on Rotten Tomatoes with critics, and I know it has a higher audience score, I believe. Let me just make sure on that. But I believe it has a higher audience score, which means that people generally like the movie. It has an 82% on Rotten Tomatoes with audience, so audience generally seem to like the movie. And a 63% on Rotten Tomatoes with critics isn't not the worst rating for the movie. So critics, generally critics like the movie too. So word of mouth played a little part, but it's not like people hated the movie. So it's just I think these are just dumb comments by Eddie Muschietti. This definitely makes me a little concerned about Batman Bane and Bold because if you can't realize why your Flash movie failed and you think the reason it failed because nobody cared about the character, we had a TV show that lasted 9 seasons and the actor in that show was beloved, that women don't like the character, I just find that to be... To me, it just sounds like you're out of touch with your general audience, Eddie Muschietti. When it comes to his reasons why I thought the Flash movie failed, I went over 3 other reasons why that had nothing to do with the people not caring about the character or women not liking the character for why that movie failed. It had nothing to do with those still. So I think these were just dumb comments with Eddie Muschietti. Sometimes actors and directors, I think they say stupid stuff and don't realize what they're saying. It just makes you sound dumb sometimes. And I think this was one of those times where Eddie Muschietti just needs to stop, just let go of the Flash movie. Stop talking about it. Talk about your Batman movie. Learn from the Flash movie the things that you did wrong, and just focus on making a good to great Batman movie now. So that's my thoughts on his comments about why the Flash movie failed. Until next time, movie fans.